I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to Conversations with Al McFarlane. This edition of Conversations with Al McFarlane is brought to you by Comcast. Comcast working to bridge the digital divide through Internet Essentials and partnering with organizations across the Twin Cities to help make our region an even better place to live, work, and play. I'm pleased to have as guest for this program Nancy Brady. She's president of the storied Neighborhood House in St. Paul, and her colleague Georgie Nguyen. Nancy Brady joined Neighborhood House as president in 2014. She was returning then to the agency where from 2003 and to 2006, she led the successful capital campaign that funded the construction of Neighborhood House's home, the Paul and Sheila Wellstone Center for Community Building. Nancy has more than 25 years of leadership experience in an array of areas including strategic planning, fundraising, volunteer engagement, marketing and communications, program development, project management, and community relations. She's served on the senior leadership teams at Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity for 8 years, and she was responsible there for fundraising, volunteerism, and marketing communications. She's got an MBA from New York University, a BA in psychology from University of Illinois. She's a member of the Leadership St. Paul class of 2004, and she served on the board of directors at Minnesota Communities Caring for Children. I think that's a name for that organization that used to be called Prevent Child Abuse Minnesota, I think. You were there for 2 terms, including serving as its chair. She's currently serving on the board of directors of the Metropolitan Alliance for Connected Communities. And Georgie Nguyen is the food support manager at Neighborhood House, and she's overseeing the 2 food markets. They've got a nutrition assistance program for seniors, and there's also the traditional program called SNAP. SNAP is known as a food stamp program, and the second part is the fresh produce distribution program. Prior to working at Neighborhood House, Georgie worked to reduce the prevalence of preterm birth and infant mortality at the Minnesota Department of Health. She's got a master's degree in public health from the University of Minnesota, specializing in maternal and child health. She's a passionate advocate for social justice and health equity. That drives her work in direct service, she says. She strives to improve family and community health by addressing socioeconomic barriers. Outside of work, Georgie is busy exploring restaurants in Twin Cities and getting inspiration for home decor on HGTV. This is the most fun part. It says if she's challenged in Harry Potter trivia, she will win. Oh boy. So you can also find her painting canvases and wood pieces for her online shop, Etsy shop. It's called Inspired Co. Guys, thank you both for being here. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I want to simply begin by reiterating my sense of how important the work, the mission, the history is of Neighborhood House. But I want to ask you to give kind of the elevator speech vision of the organization and the value it brings to community in St. Paul and Twin Cities.
Great, thank you so much. We are so delighted to be here, and thank you for creating that opportunity, and thanks to Comcast as well. So Neighborhood House has been around for 122 years. We were founded in 1897, and what most people don't know is that in addition to working on the west side, we actually serve 6 neighborhoods in the city of St. Paul. And we work with members of the community who are seeking to meet their basic needs and also to really improve their social and their economic well-being, to dream about the life they really want to lead and work towards achieving that. And we are designed to do that with them. We walk with people on their journey. They lead the way, we support, and we make sure they have the resources and the support that they need to get where they want to go. We work with them in such a way that as they improve their lives as a whole family, working with multiple members of a family across programs and over time, they are also, and with our support, we are also improving the quality of life in the neighborhoods where they live, which are the neighborhoods that we serve.
A critical strategy is understanding it's a two-way street. Not only are you helping people, but people are helping the community, helping build
Absolutely.
a neighborhood and a community that makes sense, that thrives actually. How does that work?
Well, for us, the first thing we do is that we believe in the strength of our participants. We don't look at our participants as people just with needs, because frankly, we all have needs. We look at people with strengths. So we help people build on their own strengths, and a lot of the way we do our work is inviting people to support each other and inviting people to get involved in identifying and addressing barriers to success in their neighborhoods, and supporting each other outside the doors of Neighborhood House in their own neighborhoods. And as people gain confidence, which is part of what they gain, our mission is helping people build knowledge, skills, and confidence, then they actually help build the quality of life in their neighborhood, and they strengthen everyone around them.
Absolutely, and I would just add that a lot of our participants and families, once they do feel comfortable, they do come back to Neighborhood House, and they like to work within the community to help others, their neighbors, their friends or family, and invite them to Neighborhood House and become participants as well.
And sometimes that's simultaneous. They can be a participant and a volunteer
Absolutely.
at the same time.
With the 100-year history, you've obviously seen and know something about shifting demographics. And when you started 100 years ago, what was the world like? If you can reflect on that. And what's the world like now? What things are the same and what is different?
All right, so some of the things that are the same, but let me start with that history piece, as you asked. So when we were founded by the women of Mount Zion Temple, and Mount Zion Temple continues to be involved in Neighborhood House today, and we are very grateful for that. And they were seeking to help Jewish people who were escaping the pogroms in Russia and had found their way to St. Paul, and they were working to help these people build safe, stable, rewarding lives in our community, and to become really integrated and part of the community, bringing their gifts and also receiving our gifts, so to speak. And that's true today. We work with a lot of new immigrants and refugees, but we also work with anybody in our community who is seeking to make contributions to the community and to improve their social and economic well-being. But again, in each of those ways, what stayed the same is the idea that people have strengths, and people are self-directed. They get to pick where they want to go and what they want to accomplish. And and they get to say what they need and want from us, as well as what they want to give.
Georgia, you're working with food, with the food programs. Talk about those, please.
Sure, so you kind of touched on the overview of the programs that I see at Neighborhood House, but within the food support program, that is where we see the majority of our participants come in. It is, I would say, the gateway point to Neighborhood House. And a lot of people know that we are available for food support. But one of the great parts about the program is it's also an ability for us to connect them to the other resources we have within Neighborhood House. So when they come in, we have an intake process, and we can engage with them and also just gauge what their needs are and work with the families to determine if they need internal or external resources, and we can refer them. So we offer, a lot of adult education classes, youth programs. We have preschool classes, and so many opportunities with the Neighborhood House. And being a part of the food support program, we're able to bridge the gap and make the connections for a lot of people who are unaware of the other services that we provide. But one of the biggest things about the food support program that we do is really addressing the need in the community. We recently partnered with a local high school who currently they said that 90% of their students are eligible for free and reduced lunch. That is an alarming number. That is such a high number of students. And knowing that that need is in our community, we really hope to make an impact. And in 2018, the food support program distributed over 1 million pounds of food. Do you think about how much food that is?
That's a lot,
Yeah, but the need is still out there, so it's wonderful to be a part of it.
And the other thing about our program is it has a heavy, heavy focus on healthy nutrition. We know that it is not only is food insecurity an issue, but healthy food is an issue.
Right.
Some of the healthiest foods are the least available and the most expensive. And so we work hard to make sure that our food markets, our fresh produce distributions, all of the different ways, we have pantries inside schools. We work really hard to make sure that the food is the food that people want, culturally specific food, the food that is their comfort food, they know how to cook, they know their kids will eat it, but also that they have access to really healthy food. And one of the future things we're really working towards is a lot more nutrition education and healthy cooking education, and within cultural norms. So how do we help people cook the foods that they love that are part of their heritage and culture, and do it in a way that actually promotes the health of their whole family?
How have you been effective in engaging partners in this work? We mentioned Comcast as a sponsor. How do you connect with an organization like that and bring them a value proposition where they see in their corporate and business interest the importance of working with Neighborhood House and organizations like you?
So Comcast is a great example because their relationship with us is very multifaceted. So, you know, one of the ways that's, I think, fairly obvious most people think about is that they make contributions from their foundations. And having unrestricted funding that we can use where we see the need is greatest, and that allows us to fulfill the needs that are coming from our community, and as opposed to being directed by somebody that says you can only spend it this way, and then if that's not exactly the way that we think it's needed, or that our community is telling us that's not important, this is, those kind of funds. And Comcast has been very generous with unrestricted funding, and it makes a huge difference. But the other way is having the members of their company get involved as volunteers. The Comcast Cares Day that really comes out and is part of it, and just a number of ways. Their Internet Essentials program, in our adult education and in our youth programming, we have Comcast members, and we also have a Comcast member on our board. So the volunteerism that comes through. And then another way is things like this, where companies and individuals as well have a particular expertise or skill set or access to some sort of resource that isn't cash, but that they can bring that to the picture, and that together with Neighborhood House, we can work with the community to make sure the community gets what they need and they want in order to really build those safe, stable, rewarding lives in our community that they're striving for.
You have to talk about your phenomenal and well-used facility. That institution, the building itself, the campus, is a great place, a great meeting place. It's a place to convene. Talk about it, if you
Yeah,
will.
so the Wellstone Center is actually a social enterprise. And since not everybody knows what the heck is a social enterprise, what it really is, it's a little mini business that generates actual positive revenue flow that then supports a cause. And it also helps to serve our mission. And in the case of the Wellstone Center, the building is a venue. It allows people to come in from the community and have a place to gather for meetings and celebrations and a wide variety of events. So we run it as a venue, and people can pay to use the space, and then the rates and the revenue that comes in helps maintain the building and keep it a resource for our community. And so, yes, it can work for a business, and a business can hold a meeting there, and we appreciate that very much. But it's also a community space. So there are 4 local theater companies that would call us home. There are a couple of congregations that use the building on the weekend as the home for their community. So there's a veterans group that meets there. So there's a wide variety of ways the building is a resource for the community, as well as it is a revenue generating. And if I might, I'm going to go on to, we have a brand new social enterprise at Neighborhood House that isn't in the Wellstone Center, and it's called Meaningful. And it is a coffee shop in the new Osborne 370 building in downtown St. Paul. The building used to be the Ecolab headquarters, so I'm inviting everyone to come into Meaningful. And please have breakfast, lunch, or coffee in Meaningful. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. And the baristas, the bar staff, are Neighborhood House participants building job skills.
Meaningful?
And meaningful, like meaningful with a B.
I love it.
And so please come and do that. And it's a brand new business. It's really, really new. But the ultimate goal is that it will not only help people build job skills, but it will also help Neighborhood House have a revenue source that helps fund all of Neighborhood House programming.
Well, there's something important about sustainability. How do you sustain good work? And how do you figure out ways to make it, excuse me, so that organizations can survive and thrive as they serve communities? And I think you're moving, and you've always moved on that path with the model for your social enterprise. And this is one more step in that direction. Let me close this interview with thanking you both for being here, but inviting you to invite community and business people to both use the service, be a part of the services that are provided, but also to provide service as well. Because you're saying this is about both sides of the equation. Nobody's just on one side of the street. We're all in building a neighborhood, a community, a resource together.
Absolutely.
So I'll make my beginning invitation, and I'd love to have Georgie talk a little bit about food, because as she mentioned, that's where most people begin. But it's not the only place you can begin. So if you need and want or are interested in either using one of the Neighborhood House services, and everything we do at Neighborhood House other than the Wellstone Center is, and Meaningful, are free. But we have preschool in 2 neighborhoods. We have family centers in 6 neighborhoods. 4 of them are inside elementary schools, but people in the community surrounding the schools are welcome to come. We help, we're MNsure navigators. We can get people connected to SNAP benefits. We can, help people with housing crises. And a number of other things to help family stability. We have community baby showers, and we teach people about how to work with their landlords and what their rights and responsibilities are. So lots of ways you can get involved. We also are very interested in people that want to come to us and support each other. So we have adult education. We teach GED as well as English and civics, and we partner with Minnesota Computers for Schools on internet classes. The Wellstone Center includes Parks and Rec. We partner with a lot of local schools on our youth programming, and one thing I definitely want to mention is that we have a program right now that's very similar to one the Boys and Girls Clubs have, and I know that you've worked with Terrell Brum from there as well, but it is a program where in small group and one-on-one, we will help teenagers bring up their reading skills. And if we have teenagers out there, middle school, high school students that are struggling with reading and really want to read better, they can come to us, and that's another point of entry.
Great.
And then food is our fabulous point of entry just about anywhere in any of those neighborhoods.
Yeah. So we have a couple different locations for the 2 food markets that we talked about. One of them is at the Wellstone Center, and that's where we see the majority of our participants. And then we also have a smaller food market that's in the Highland Park area. And recently at the Wellstone Center, we did a survey, maybe I wouldn't say recently, but about 2 years ago, and we wanted to hear from participants about what they would like to see from us. And they said they were coming to us for fresh produce, as Nancy mentioned earlier, is one of the most expensive parts of groceries is buying fresh produce. And so we implemented a new program called Bonus Thursdays, where participants can come an extra time a month to get, the other essentials that they need to really get them through the next time they can, go grocery shopping or come to get their next shop at the food market. Which is great that we're able to address that need. And then we also have the fresh produce distributions, which are year-round, such an important part of the food support program. And Comcast is also involved, and soon, I think maybe in 2 weeks, we're doing the Comcast Cares Day at Metro State for the fresh produce distribution. But the main goal of that program is to get out as many pounds of food as possible to participants, and families. It's just
and for those of you who would like to donate to food, $36 can feed
a family of 4 for a week.
Right. Yeah. Nobody out here can go to Sam's Club or Costco or wherever and buy what we can buy for $36. And because of the food banks like Second Harvest and the food group, we can use $36 pretty phenomenally for healthy foods.
Everybody can help.
Everybody can help. Everybody can help. Everybody has a gift. If
Right.
everybody leverages their gifts for themselves and others, we're all going to be a better place.
Listen, I want to thank both of you so very much for what you do, but thank you for spending time with me today on Conversations with Al McFarlane. Nancy Brady, president of Neighborhood House here in St. Paul, and Georgie Nguyen, who runs the food support program at Neighborhood House. Thank you both so much for what you do. Thank you for being here. Continued success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane. We'll see you next time.